Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme: the SFA appoint Malky Mackay as their new Performance Director of Football. SFA Chief Executive Stuart Regan says Mackay's appointment could be a force for good. Malky Mackay says he's made mistakes, he's apologised and he should be judged moving forward. And over at Ibrox, Rangers boss Mark Warburton says don't expect too much in the transfer market in the January window. Just a few of the topics Alan Ruff and myself will be discussing tonight on the programme. Ruffy, Malky Mackay confirmed. We knew that yesterday. And he was unveiled to the press. And as you would expect, I think he was well aware he was going to get a grilling.
Yes, first of all, I'm pleased for him. I think he's a genuine guy who's made mistakes, and you've touched on it briefly there. He apologised for everything that he had done. And went about the proper procedures to get back on track. He went for counselling, and I think he's done everything he can. You know, I don't think he's missed out anything at all. Yeah, there still will be people who'll have to try and get their heads round it, but he's got the position now. I think he'll be good for the position. I think he's the kind of guy that we need, young, you know, with a lot of ideas, and I'm sure everybody will benefit from his appointment.
Well, he's the third appointment after Mark Vota and Brian McClair, and Stuart Regan explained the appointment of Malky Mackay.
Accept that Malky has made mistakes. He said things that were regrettable, but he's shown genuine remorse, and we were impressed and encouraged by the actions he's taken since coming out and apologising for what he said. He's undertaken of his own volition diversity and equality training and has lectured on that to a number of different organisations. We actually believe that Malky will be a force for good for Scottish football. He'll be part of our equality and diversity strategy and be a real advocate for the role.
And of course, Malky Mackay himself obviously offered his take on what has gone before with the texts that he was found guilty of sending that were of a racist nature.
Years ago, I apologised publicly and apologised in front of cameras. Apologised privately for the three texts to the two gentlemen that I spoke about. And then for the last 3 years, as Stuart touched on there, I've been involved in diversity and equality meetings and basically been on an education for the last 3 years, to the point where probably I know more about it than probably anybody in this room, in terms of then going on to actually talk to young players and young coaches concerning it. It's something that I've been involved in London, Birmingham, Manchester and abroad. And you know, that's something that I think I'm now pretty well versed in. And like everything, I suppose like any part of what you do, it's about educating yourself generally. I've been, in the last couple of years, going and looking, seeking out best practice all over the world, in football and in other sports. And that basically comes along with it. You're educating yourself, and I think that can make you better in any field that you're involved in.
Well, I think speaking from someone who knows him, I think you've got to genuinely judge it at face value here. He's made mistakes. We're not condoning his actions. I think the one element of this is he's gone about it in a positive sense and taken positive action to try and not rectify his misdemeanours, but learn from them, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I think that's the point everybody should be taken on board. You can tell there that there is a lot of remorse in what he's done. And he knows what he did was bad. But again, you know, I think everybody in life should be given a second chance, and I think he's done everything to rectify it. I know there will be still people out there who'll have to get their heads round it, but I think we should move on now. I think we should move on and concentrate on the football and concentrate on what he's going to do for the game up here.
Of course, a big call from the SFA. I think one of the things that was highlighted today is you have a press conference to unveil your performance director, and the first 15 minutes is on the background of his back catalogue. Of course, one of the questions that was asked was, were there any other skeletons in the closet that anybody hasn't actually revealed yet? And I think Stuart Regan decided to answer that question.
Malky has disclosed to us as part of the due diligence process is the same information that's come out since 2013. He's actually been very clear, very open His QC has been very clear, very open. We've had access to a lot of information, and we're very confident that everything that has been disclosed actually sets out what Malky has gone through. And for us, it's about looking forward to what value Malky can add to Scottish football in the development of young players.
Just picking up on that point, Ruffy, obviously there was a story that came out, just before his appointment regarding, Cardiff City's owner Vincent Tan's going to look into, and there's an investigation ongoing into transfer dealings at the club, which again, Malky's name has been associated with. I think he was quite happy to answer the questions on that and say that, that there is no misdemeanour there. The SFA director has put himself right behind the 8 ball here on the basis that if anything else were to develop that came out of left field that nobody had seen, Malky knows he would lose his job. I think Stuart Regan would be in a very difficult position as well. So, this has got to be handled very carefully, and I think it has been handled thoroughly.
Yeah, I think so. When you listen to them there, they've obviously went into a lot of detail, and looked into these things, because as you've said there, I don't think the SFA can take a chance on anything else coming up. So no, I think they've been very thorough on this one, and let's hope that they have been thorough, because it wouldn't be fair on Malky either.
Yeah, I did ask Malky today what he would say to the people that don't want him in the job because of the person they think he is.
To judge me on what you see going forward, as I said, access to me is an open door policy. Come and sit down and have a cup of tea with me and judge me going forward on what you see and what people see. People that know me know exactly what I am and who I am, but if you don't know me, then judge me by what you see going forward.
I don't believe Malky's a racist. I think, of the thousands of texts that were sent, 3 of them were bang out of order. I think now, when he's been given that second chance, people should move on. It's going to be difficult to judge any kind of a short-term success on this. I wonder about the role of performance director in general. You go through, speaking to 1,000,001 people about plans. The fact is, a performance director is not going to produce great footballers, Ruffy. I think there's so many other parts of this backroom team that are going to have to contribute to help him.
Yeah, I think if we're led to believe it's a difficult one, as Brian McClare found out, and it seems to be the gap between the clubs, and the SFA, and what route to go down, and obviously with Malky's background in football, you would like to think he's very approachable. He knows both Old Firm managers, he'll know other managers at other clubs. It means he'll have maybe an open door, where they want to talk to him, because they know him particularly well through playing and his managerial career. So I think doors will open for him, but I still think it's going to be a hard task to get all the clubs to fall into line.
Well, that's what I was just going to pick up on that point. They're calling it Project Brave, which has details of the way they'd like to go, and obviously Malky will tweak that here and there and then start to put in his own ideas as well. I think his biggest problem is not the fact that people will be responsive to any great ideas that he has. I think the biggest problem is individual clubs with their own agenda.
Yeah, but every club's got their own academy. Everybody's got their own academy, how they want to work, whether it's Hibs, Celtic, Aberdeen, Rangers, and that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to sit round with them all and get them all sort of singing for the same hymn sheet, and it's going to be a really difficult one. But we all know the future of the game lies in people that are in these positions, so let's hope they can all get it right.
Yeah, I just wonder if, as we reflect on this appointment, Ruffy, I mean, long term we'll be judged, and of course Gordon Strachan will, and any other subsequent manager on Scotland getting to a major championship. So I just wonder if, Malky was looking at it and the doors were closing fast and furious everywhere on his appointment. I mean, he had a short term at Wigan, didn't work out, but it must have been really difficult for him when doors were closing everywhere and you're thinking you're not going to get back in. So this is, in a way, it's a lifeline for him.
Yeah, he's not any different from any other manager. When we see managers, I mean, I spoke about Davy Moyes, you spoke about Davy Moyes with the failures that he was having. He needed to get the right fix and the right job, and I think that's what Malky's done. He saw an avenue to get back into the game, and let's hope he's here for a while, because he's still got something to offer in football.
Yeah, although he has indeed over many times showed contrition on this one. I don't think we should be holding up footballers and managers as role models, for anyone really. I mean, there are a lot with misdemeanours in the past.
Yeah, and I think everybody's sensible enough to know that, but you have to move on. You have to stop looking behind and look to the future.
Yep, we wish Malky Mackay the very best of luck in his new role as performance director. I suppose we'll all be celebrating if we actually get to a major finals. More football coming up after the break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. The main news is Malky Mackay has been unveiled as the new SFA Performance Director of Football. And over the next couple of days, we'll undoubtedly be talking about his appointment all the way through Friday and Saturday, as well as people offer conflicting opinions on it, pro and against as well. You can give us your view at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. We will discuss that on Saturday's show, 2 till 6. We'll bring you all the details of all the goals hitting the back of the net across all 4 divisions in Scotland. Gordon Smith, Alan Ruff and Alec Ray will be joining us on the programme from 2 o'clock on STV. Hopefully you can join us for that. There's a game tomorrow night. It's Hamilton Accies against Rangers. First of all, Mark Warburton's been speaking and mentioned, I think, just to enlighten some of the Rangers fans, not to expect too many people coming in the door in the January transfer window at Ibrox.
It's far more dangerous to bring in too many than too few. So we have the 1 or 2 that we're looking at, and if we can get them over the line, all well and good.
Interesting. Do you think that's paving the way for... Does he need more people? And there's a better point.
No, I had looked at the team lines last Saturday when I was talking to Gordon, when I saw the starting 11 plus what was on the bench as well. I thought it was a pretty good squad that he had. Like every manager, he'll want maybe 1 or 2. You know, I think the main thing the Rangers supporters don't want is anybody leaving. You know, obviously, if somebody was to come in with something tempting, they might be swayed to get some money in the kitty, you know, to bring somebody else in. But no, I think they've got a good squad. I think they're looking pretty good.
I think they need a goal scorer.
Yeah, well, this morning I read the newspapers about comparing the boy
Joe Gardner to
Andy Gray. You know, he might have the same bustling, you know, approach, you know, noising up defenders and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, Andy hit the back of the net and more times than any strikers in his era up here. So if he could add that to his makeup, you know, and start scoring goals, then yeah, you might get your head round that one. But as it is just now, I can't see any comparison.
Yeah, I thought that was unhelpful. I mean, I can understand Mark at times becomes a little tetchy with people constantly looking at what he feels are the negatives in the game. But by the same token, I think that kind of comparison puts a lot of pressure on the boy. Listen, Rangers fans can applaud him from now until the end of the season, but I think a number of them, when it gets down to critical games, 31st of December as well will be another judge of it. You cannot sustain over a long period of time a hustler and a bustler who doesn't score goals, who's in a striking position, Ruffy. Rangers can't have that. They need a goal scorer.
Well, that's why he was brought. He was brought to be the goal scorer. Yeah, we know there are other players there. You know, okay, he can get away with hustling and bustling if other people are scoring 10 and 15 goals. You know, that takes the pressure off him a wee bit. But I think the boy's got goals in him, and it might just be the case that he's looking for that big goal to spark his time at Rangers. But you know, I think it might just be tomorrow night. It might just be, you know, that could be the night that sparks it. But the manager's got to keep behind him. He's got to keep believing that he's got to do it. I mean, he wouldn't have spent that kind of money if he didn't think he could. But if you ask any striker out there, it's all about scoring goals, and you're not scoring them, your confidence gets low and low. But again, they thrive on goals, so let's hope he gets a goal or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the competition that you were talking about, of course, Lee Hodgson has forced his way into the side, and he knows with the strength of the squad that he faces a real battle to keep his place in the team.
Competition, it's healthy for the squad to have competition all over the park, and I think we have that throughout the whole squad. It's not just, you know, in the fullback position, it's everywhere in the squad. There's we've got a big squad and everyone's sort of fighting for their place. I think it's healthy to have competition, but I know it's going to be difficult coming here with two top quality fullbacks. They're arguably probably two best in the league, if not they are. Well, they are in fact probably two best fullbacks in the league. So it was obviously going to be hard for me to come here and try to get into a squad, but that's what it's all about. Coming to a new club and working hard and fighting to try to get your chance.
Yep, he's burst onto the scene in a positive sense. Not too sure I agree with him on the two of them are the best fullbacks in the league. I think certainly Lee Wallace is one of the best.
Yeah, I would agree. Lee Wallace, yes, definitely. Tavernier had revelled coming through the leagues, scoring goals freely, playing great attacking football. But it seems to be since he's come up to the top division, it's not been as potent as what he was. Obviously defensively. That's his weakness, and obviously that boy's been brought in, to be defensive, and Rangers were losing some bad goals there. So he knows he's got Tavernier's place. It just depends on how consistent he could be.
Yep, I can't see Rangers slipping up at New Douglas Park. Massimo Donati is very confident that they can cause an upset on the basis of what they did against Celtic in a battling defeat, albeit a 1-0 defeat. But what do you make of it? How do you see this one going? I mean, Darian McKinnon, I noticed there, has signed a new deal and well worthy of it to 2019.
Yeah, he's a big player, a really big player for them. He does the Scott Brown job and does it very well. Any time we've saw them, he's been the main man in there with Ali Crawford. And Hamilton will be Hamilton tomorrow night. Obviously Rangers have proved on numerous occasions they don't like the surface. They don't like going there, they don't enjoy it. A lot of the players don't enjoy it. So, Hamilton might have something on there, but it's all about what Hamilton do. They'll come away from Parkhead with a credible scoreline, and I'm sure they'll be pleased with that. But they know Rangers are going to give them a tough game, and if they could get some goals, it would make it easier for them.
OK, give me your prediction.
I think Rangers will win. I think Rangers will win, possibly 2-1.
Yep. OK, I agree with you on that, Ruffy. Just one other note that Mark Robertson did mention, 100% behind him on this one. He reckons Billy Gilmour would be well served staying at Rangers, developing there. I think it's good if you stay at a club, a good club that can develop you in Scotland. He's got his family around him. It's the right environment. I think it's the perfect way to stay in Scotland and develop. And if you've got the skills there, people will help you, and if you're a good player, you'll get that move later on.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is you want them to get good advice, and good advice from family, from people he's been working with, people he's been brought up with. Obviously Rangers Football Club as well will advise him, and it's all about playing, as far as I'm concerned. And if he's playing week in, week out, and still everybody's talking about him, he'll get international recognition. So why not hang about for 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, a couple of bookings that have been overturned, decisions that have been overturned for diving. Jamie Walker's one, and Adi Aziz at Partick Thistle in the match against Celtic. They've been rescinded. Again, it kind of highlights. Sometimes referees can be in a difficult position. They make a call, but 2 cases again, Ruffy, where it's been overturned.
Yeah, I have to say it's very, very difficult. In the Partick Thistle one, I definitely thought there was a wee bit of contact there, and I could see why a referee would have given a penalty there. And again, it's the referees. I think they'll be shaking their head, because they're the guys that have got to come up, and talk about why they gave a yellow card, and then it's them that will be getting a bit disillusioned by everything that's going on. But I would like to think that they would know that at the end of the day it's about getting it right, and as the manager say, getting the big calls right.
Yeah, sometimes, and I'm just a cynic, Ruffy, sometimes I think some stories come out and they're spun in a certain way just to kind of suit the needs of a club. Aberdeen Chief Executive Duncan Fraser says that Pittodrie is unfit for purpose in the aftermath of the floodlight failure. Forgive me for this one. I think maybe that's just a nice line to come out on the basis that they're looking for the plans to be cleared by the City Council for the new stadium. If it's unfit for purpose now, maybe we should just close Pittodrie.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. But you're right. It is looking. We were up there a wee while ago, and it does look a bit tarnished. When you see like Hearts are getting a new bit of their stadium, I think clubs like Aberdeen should have a new stadium, and I think the council should be right behind them.
Yeah,
you know.
clubs like Aberdeen should have a new stadium, Ruffy, if they've got the finances to put it together without putting themselves in a perilous position.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they need the council on board. They need, it's a community club, and everybody should be pulling in the same way.
Yep, absolutely. I can't disagree with you on that. Well, what an interesting show. We've heard from Stuart Regan and we've heard from Malky Mackay, who's the new SFA Performance Director of Football. We wish him well. If there are any Kenny Dalglishes or indeed a John Robertson of Nottingham Forest out there from those great halcyon days, I hope Malky can find them and develop them forwards. It would be great to get to a major finals again, and it would possibly stop Ruffy continuing to bleat on about those 3 World Cups that he was at. From Ruffy and myself, we wish Malky the very best of luck. Join us tomorrow on the programme. Hugh McDonald will be our guest from 6:30.